You think you understand control, but control is only an illusion. And feelings, they don't obey. They repeat, they stay. Feel, cold, hey, heart.
Jeff Zarling cover remixes.
Those who came before me. Those who came before me. Live through their vocations. From the past until completion, they'll turn away. Control repeat. I see a ship in the harbor port. I can and shall obey. But if it wasn't for your misfortune, I'd be a heavenly person. Mistaken, and I thought I heard you speak. Tell me, how do I feel? Tell me now. How should I feel? Now I stand here waiting. I thought I told you to leave me. While I walk down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, Erie County. Here we are, man. It is Sunday. The days just click by way too fast. Gorgeous day. I got my lawn mowed. I've been kind of busy, and I was in Pittsburgh, and the lawn was looking a little thick. So I got that done today. I had to get a gas can, get gas. You know, one project ends up being another. I found out I had a little damage to my garage. My neighbor's limb fell, broke my window, so I had to fix that real quick. So keep the weather out. The privileges of owning a home, but that's just the way it goes. Mother Nature always wins. So here it is, a beautiful day. Got outside, worked outside, worked on the trail a little bit, cleaned out the police car, did some sign workage, getting ready for the 19th. TikTok, man, it is around the corner. Thank you, Jesus, that we are almost through the primary. A lot of things going on. And speaking of elections, I got this in the mail today. I'll try to show this to you. So for you folks out here at this neck of the woods, dear voter, Harbor Creek Township District 2 has changed effectively immediately. The new polling location is at Faith Lutheran Church, 5414 East Lake Road, Erie, PA 16511. Again, that's for Harbor Creek Township District 2, which is mine and Brenda. So we got these nice postcards. Look at these nice postcards you paid for. Look at that. Boop. Nice big ones too. Look how nice and big they are. But you got to get the information. I get it. And I got to look. We got letters. I got letters from the Board of Elections. I thought I was in trouble or something. No, it was just, hey, we're changing your polling station. We're at the Alliance Church down the road here. We're back to Lutheran. We used to be at the fire hall, but because of the club and the alcohol, we can't do it there. So our little tiny little voting area has changed again, which I always thought was kind of odd. I had to drive by the Lutheran Church to go vote at the fire hall, which I didn't care. But then they moved it even farther down the road. So now that's coming back up into where our district is. And I guess there was another change at the township building. You might want to really go online and check your polling locations. It appears the former chairman of the Board of Elections, they did some shuffling around of everything. So we'll get into Mr. Jimmy Wirtz getting thrown off the Board of Elections. You really have to irritate or done something wrong for your fellow Democrats, the chairman of Erie County Council, to throw you off of the Board of Elections. But guess what? You got rid of Wirtz, and now you got Drexel. Oh, geez, it's like out of the frying pan and into the fire. But hey, you guys wanted this county council to look this way. You guys got it. So here we are, just sitting back laughing. We're going to talk about those stories coming up a little bit. Man, nose itches. Sorry about that. We got Chet Black coming in. He's supposed to come in at 7:15. I don't know if you guys know him. A great guy. This guy has forgotten more about politics than I know. I mean, Chet, he sent me his little bio here, is the Pennsylvania State Republican Committee chairman, Butler County Convention of States Action, and Pennsylvania State Director of the American Families First chairman. This guy's busy. I thought I was busy, but oh my goodness, but that's okay. Yeah, Kim, that's a great idea. Kim, Matt's here and Stan's here. Nice to see you. The channel's lighting up, and it looks like we're gonna have a good show. I figured out how to look at the channels now. We experiment. I touch the little eyeball, and it shows me who's on what channel now. So that was something that was just in the left-hand corner. They took that away, put it over here. So now you have to actually look for stuff. It gives me a running clock, tells me that I'm live, and we got everything going on. So Brenda's in the controls. We got some great videos. We got some short videos. We got some funny videos. We didn't do a lot of videos for the simple fact, the fact that we do have a special guest coming on via a link. So it's just an issue of we didn't know how much. I don't like the short guests. I really don't. I want to say, okay, you got 7 minutes. Kid, knock yourself out. No, that's not how I work, because it's an issue of we want the guests to have time to talk and get their points across. And it's nice to see the chats for Jay. Thanks for coming in, Jay. I met on social media. He is also one of those guys that is going around the city of Erie and calling out all these disgusting dumps that are all over the city of Erie. So Jay, I salute you, sir. I see you and I gonna have to talk. Let's talk, and we should sit down and compile a list of the the 10 worst properties in the city of Erie, and have you come on the show. We'll throw some photographs up there, maybe some videos. We can do a lot with this show now that we're learning how it works. So I mean, it's just an issue of is that my sister that just popped in the room? My sister just popped in the room. Say, okay, guys, remember all the sister jokes I was telling you about we're going to do tonight? No sister jokes. We can't do it. My sister's here tonight. So I'm kidding, Jill. You're always welcome to come on the show, and we appreciate that. So again, there's a lot of things heating up around the town. It just makes me giggle about the whole Jimmy Worthless. I know Jim and I we've crossed swords before. Jim made a bunch of dirty, slimy allegations that I stole a county vehicle and was using it for my personal use, and then I misappropriated a trailer from the fire department. Of course, none of that was true. Absolutely not. The irony of what just happened, it makes me giggle and warm and fuzzy at night thinking about it. Jim wrote this scathing letter he was the chairman of the Democrat Party, that I had misappropriated a county vehicle. I misappropriated a trailer from the fire department, and he demanded that I be thrown off the board of elections. Wham! Karma, man, I tell you what, look who got just thrown off the board of elections. Not this guy, that guy. So, Jim, I hope one of you or one of your little minions are watching tonight. Yes, you are going to be the brunt of a lot of ha-has, because the irony of you pushing to get me thrown off the board of elections for doing nothing. My vehicle, my trailer. You obviously got caught with your hands in the cookie jar when the chairman of the county council votes to get rid of you. And of course, the folks just stayed right in step with their illustrious leader. And of course, I saw all the people that were at the county council meeting, supporting their former fearless leader. Yeah. Anybody gets kicked off the board of elections. The guy's barely been on council 4 months, has already got thrown off the first job he's ever had. So I'm sorry if I'm giggling and laughing. I know that's not very nice and it's not very politically correct. But like I said, the irony of how he tried to get me thrown off the board of elections for lies and deception. Now he got caught with his hands in a cookie jar and he got thrown off the board of elections. So other than that, there's a lot of things going on. We had the People's Walk for Life on Saturday. I DJ'd that. Always a great event. Mike Kelly was there. Brad Rowe was there. We just all the folks come together with this whole Democrat thing, and I did flash that up there before we started. The House Bill 1957, which supports late-term abortion, that the Three Stooges here in Erie County have blindly, and I do mean blindly. I truly don't think these people want this. I really don't. I mean, that's just my opinion. From what I read, and I interacted with Bob, I don't think he wants it. But he doesn't have the guts to stand up to his own party and say, no. People are like, well, you're a Trumper. Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of dumb stuff he says that I don't agree with. Absolutely not. You can go back years ago where I go, well, yeah, I might have supported the guy, but I don't blindly trust him. And I don't blindly trust everything he says. We should question our politicians, but here comes the Democrats. Here comes the Three Stooges out of Erie County. Man, they just bang, bang, bang. Puppy Doug Bizarro, Mr. Perk Harkins, and Mr. Windmill Bob up here. They just do whatever they're told. They're doing whatever they're told, because look what happens. If you're a Democrat and go against the system, you get a hand slap. Look what happened to Jim Wynorski. He voted for me for chairman. Look what happened. He got censured. Guess what? That censure didn't mean nothing. He ran for re-election, smoked the Democrat. Right out of the primary, smoked them. So guess who's winning? Well, I just got a text from Brenda. She gave me Brian has the guts to right. Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that one. Trust me, we got tons of stuff to talk about that one. And the latest, how Bob Mursky's got to be sweating. He has to be nervous. I mean, I went into this thing just kind of, I'm really irritated. I wasn't going to run. But then we're going to do a write-in. We'll come back to that, because I just got a text from Brenda that Chet is in the green room, probably having M&Ms waiting for us to come on there. So Brenda, if you would be so kind to bring our guest on board.
Excellent. It looks like I am here. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
I hear you loud and clear, sir. Can you hear us okay?
Excellent. And I thank you for the M&Ms in the waiting room. They were very tasty. And also, I just wanted to point out, this Jim fellow that got kicked off of your board of elections.
Yes, sir.
You can tell now that even people in Butler County know about his misdeeds there. So the word is
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, he ran against Dan Laughlin, got absolutely shellacked. I mean, he got shellacked. And then he's the Democrat chairman, former Democrat chairman. You heard me talk. I'm assuming you heard me, kind of warming the show up that he came after me and wanted me thrown off the board of elections for nothing I didn't do. And then he ends up getting thrown off the board of elections. So pardon me for snickering just a little bit long on this issue, but yeah. So sir,
that's perfect. I will spread the word down in Butler County, and Jim, if you come down and visit us, people are going to know.
He really is. He's a teacher at Edinburgh, and he basically ran the Democrat Party while he was at work at Edinburgh. So that that's how they do. But so enough about that. Now let's talk about this gray hair guy that's got the gray hair on the other side of the camera like I do. I read your bio that you sent me. Tell me who you are, man. Let the people know who this guy is.
Okay, my name's Chet Jack. I'm from Butler County. Specifically, I live in Cranberry Township now. I'm on the PA GOP State Committee. I'm also the state director for Pennsylvania for Convention of States Action. And I have a PAC called American Families First, and I serve as a chairman of that. And I'm just highly involved in politics down here. About 5 or 6 years ago, I started taking a look around at what was happening in my county, and I realized that, my God, things are a lot worse than I thought they were. And then, after I looked around some more, I realized that we're on the verge of losing this republic. So somebody better step up and get involved. So I jumped in then, and I've been. Life's changed ever since then. I used to work a lot at my business, and now I hardly work at my business and do mostly political stuff.
Isn't that how it kind of it's like a vortex? I'm just going to get involved in a little school board meeting, and then that vortex spins around faster and faster, and all of a sudden your house is spinning around like Wizard of Oz. But yeah, so let's talk about your PAC. That sounds like a very interesting PAC. What do you do with that PAC?
Well, mostly we do advocacy for candidates that are local.
Nice.
I'm helping out with some local races right now, and so a little bit of monetary contributions. We'll do some other things like some social media boosting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I think that's where the Republican Party really struggles, is getting that information out. I know up in Erie County we have really, really struggled locally, and that's why I got involved as becoming a person on committee, and then of course vice chair. So I mean, I get that, because if this doesn't get done, we're done. And we're not a democracy. Thank you I know you are the guy that's going to get that right. We are a republic, and people like, you're a threat to democracy. Well, that's not really true, but hey, knock yourself out. So what are you doing now? You're running for state committee again, correct?
Yes, I'm in the midst of a state committee race. What's really been consuming me lately is that we've got this election coming up, though. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something that happened in Virginia, and bear with me while I do that, because it relates very much to what's going on in Pennsylvania. So in Virginia, we had kind of a little horror story that emerged over the last year down there. They had governors and the House, their House of Representatives was up for elections the last time. They had a Winsome Sears that was running against a lady named Abigail Spermberger. And Sears or Spermberger was running as a moderate, but she turned out being just an ultra leftist. Sears was running as conservative. We had a lieutenant governor's race down there. There's a Hoshby who's a Democrat running against Josh Reed. Josh Reed was embroiled in scandal, refused to step down as a result of the scandal. And the net takeaway when it was that there were a lot of people in the Republican Party got upset about him continuing to run, and there was a lot of disunity. And you combine that with some other failings of the Republican Party, and voters did not get very engaged at all in those races. And so what happened was that, like I said, the Senate they weren't up for vote the last time, and the Democrats already had the Senate by like a 2-seat margin in Virginia, and they had the House as well. Well, the Democrats increased their lead by 17 seats last election in the Virginia House. Okay, and they took the governor's mansion, and so what we refer to that as whenever one party controls the governorship and both chambers, we call that they've accomplished a trifecta. They've taken all three. Okay, and once you've achieved the trifecta, you pretty much can get any legislation you want through unopposed. Because you control the committee seats, so legislation will get out of committee, it'll hit the floor. You've got the majority on both of those, and then you've got a governor that will sign it. And the Democrats were just waiting to get to trifecta. They had all kinds of legislation queued up. They had anti-gun law bills queued up in there, and a bunch of those just passed as soon as they took office this past January. They had tax increases. You probably heard it was in the national news about this redistricting that they did in Virginia, where they were, and I believe that's been challenged in the courts, and you might know whether that's been completely resolved or not. But basically, the Republicans were going to lose a number of their congressional seats. They would only have one congressional seat out of the 11, or out of the 10. It's either 10 or 11 down there. I mean, just a huge loss it would have been. And so you ask yourself, what went wrong this time? Why did they lose so badly? And some people will say, well, the year after a presidential election, there's the Virginia curse. And what the Virginia curse is whatever party takes the presidency, that party doesn't do well, in the following election. So yeah, maybe there's some of that. But they saw a 4.7% slide from Republicans to Democrat in that election. And at the same time, they saw the Republican turnout decrease significantly. So the Republicans stayed home. And now they've got this awful situation going on down there. I'm looking at my side monitor instead of in the camera because I'm going to move you over.
You're fine, sir.
I'm gonna move you over here so that I'm looking at the audience.
Yeah, we've been following this stuff in Virginia because it is really scary stuff. My district, I live in this little district too. We were a victim of they're playing with the voting gerrymandering. We had a solid Republican out here as our state rep for 20 years. The minute he retired, bang, they played with the lines, and now we have a Democrat because the Democrats from Erie kind of really muddled the puddle out here, and now we have a Democrat, and that's why I decided to run against this guy because he's got to go. He really has to go.
Excellent. Once we get through that, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your run because I'm kind of curious about that. But let me get through this, and then let's jump back on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, I think where we left off was, we talked about this gerrymandering that they were attempting, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure that that's been resolved in the courts now, and they're not going to be able to do that. And so, this whole slew of progressive legislation went out. Everything, and they were ready, because they knew that they were on the cusp of pulling a trifecta there, and they just had it all geared up. Well, guess what's happening in Pennsylvania? The Democrats, the only thing stopping the Democrats in Pennsylvania now is the Senate. We have a two-seat Senate margin, and they've got. I talk to legislators all the time, and there's just like a ton of nasty legislation that the Democrats have queued up. So why did this happen? It's just because it's mostly because of disunity. It's because a lot of Republicans were, kind of gotten disgusted with the Republican Party. They weren't. They didn't think that they were that the Republicans were doing necessarily what they promised that they were going to do. And I'm talking more Congress there, and just general apathy. And they didn't show up at the polls. And so every single one of these people that stayed home in Virginia now, in the wake of this trifecta, is just kicking themselves in the seat of the pants and wishing they had voted. So that's kind of a recurring message tonight is going to be is that in the general election this year, it's incumbent that we vote, because you know what, folks, Pennsylvania, the exact same thing is going to happen here in Virginia. You know, it's if we don't get out and vote. You know, look, I've been looking at the numbers, and it doesn't look good. You know, right now the Democrats are smelling blood in the water. You know, they've had this big Virginia win. You know, they ran the same model there that they run everywhere else. You know, they put a lot of the cultural warrior stuff out there. You know, and you know, get a lot of people shaken up about that. And you know, they know that you know, the Republicans are feeling a little bit demoralized right now. They know that we're not going to turn out, and they can just feel it. You know, that, you know, come the end of this year and in the next year, that they're gonna take, you know, both chambers, and they're going to take the governorship, and they're going to be able to slam through whatever the heck they want. You know, so there's you know, as it stands now, from what I'm looking at, it's looking like we have we're down by 1 seat in the House. And if nothing changes, we're going to lose more seats in the House. So we'll be down by more in the House. And Stacey will not win, you know, as things stand now. The votes just aren't going to be there. And so that leaves us the Senate. And we have a slim margin there. And crunching the numbers, we'll lose it. It's going to be a trifecta. You know, that's all gloom and doom and bad news. The good news is it doesn't have to be that way, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But just some other things working against us is, you know, Shapiro's campaign coffers are just flush with out-of-state cash. He's got like $30 million in there. You know, I think Stacey has about like $1 million. Now, granted, she's had some successes lately with getting some funding. She's just not going to catch up to that 30 million. Yeah, it's just going to happen. So it's going to take grassroots and us rolling our sleeves up to get her across the finish line. And so the Democrats are specifically targeting NEPA House or Senate seats where there's even a hint of vulnerability. You know, and so they're playing the game smart, and we've got to play the game smart too. And similarly, they're doing the same with congressional seats. You know, they're targeting. There's at least 3 congressional seats that they're targeting right now, and so, which, you know, leads us to the question. You know, we're in a war. Who do we need to go to war? Well, we're not. You know, but the Democrats, like I said, they can taste the blood in the water. They're just poised for attack. You know, they operate in lockstep with their party leadership. You know, and I'll give you an example of in the 2025 election. I live in Cranberry Township, which is a red area. Okay, we're at least, precincts are red by at least 10 points. Okay, we lost 7 of 14 precincts to Democrats.
Wow.
Even with that kind of advantage. Why did we lose it? Because Republicans stayed home. They did not engage. And the Democrats are turning out in droves. Their people are coming out and voting. You know, they've got a small registration advantage, you know, thanks to, you know, Presslers and Noah Formicas and people like that. You know, they've whittled away at that. But there's bad news. Well, that went down to like a few tens of thousands. Right now, monthly, it's starting to go the other way to the tune of about 2,000 a month. You know, so we're actually kind of losing some ground that way. So got to get out and vote. Yeah, they're just, you know, coming off of Virginia, the Democrats are just like supercharged, you know, and so we've got to deal with our apathy, and we've got to get Republicans, you know, convinced to go out and vote. So what's that take us to? Bear with me for 1 second here while I just jump down in notes. Yeah, I think we can. So why is it that, you know, what's bothering Republicans in Pennsylvania? You know, so, you know, that they don't want to vote. You know, some of them are still have election integrity concerns. They think that their vote won't count. You know, and so for that simple reason, they just won't show up. You know, some of them aren't enthusiastic about their candidates. They say, I don't like the candidates, so why should I go vote anyway? Uh, some of them feel disenfranchised over the early endorsement stuff, that the PAGOP has done. They feel that, their selections are just candidates that have been preordained, by someone else, and they don't have a say, so they don't bother showing up. And then there's, just some of the things that have gone on in the press, that we read about. There's been, people are upset that there has not been accountability for things like Epstein, Steele dossier, targeting of conservatives by federal agencies, election integrity, list goes on. There's, we were all expecting to see perp walks, and we haven't seen too many perp walks. And so people are feeling like that promise, despite all the good stuff that Trump has done, people are hung up on that. They want to see accountability. And so, they're just a little bit disgusted right now. And the Iran situation hasn't helped. Some people perceive that as being the no new wars promise not being held. And there's different ways of looking at that. We won't get into those right now. Some people are even thinking that, the administration swayed a little bit from its America First roots. So you add all those up, and, you got, a votership that just is not enthusiastic, just isn't excited, isn't going to turn out. And it's all of our job to make sure that these guys get out and vote. And so what we need to do is we need to get a message out. And I'm working on a plan for that along with the PAGOP folks. And, we'll be pulling that out. We'll hear some more about that later. But what you can do today is what I've told you about Virginia and the fact that it'll happen in Pennsylvania. Explain that to everyone in your circle, particularly people who are going to show up to vote. And I'm talking Republicans, and I'm talking conservative-leaning independents. We need to get out as well. So start getting that message out. We're going to formalize it to where we're going to have a mass campaign to get that message out everywhere, and that'll involve social. We'll need help from y'all. Social media warriors, door knockers, podcasters, phone bank workers, letters to the editor, writers, people willing to make short videos, just talking about the importance of getting out and voting. But we've just got to continue to slam everyone that if you don't get out and vote, we're in big trouble. We're going to lose this state. And I'll tell you what, if the Democrats pull a trifecta here, we're not going to get it back in the short term, if ever. And it could have impact that's just Republic wide. That's how dire the circumstances are. So we need to. It's all hands on deck. We're going to need everyone's help. Longer, and so that's kind of a short-term focus. The short-term focus basically is, getting people aware of the bad things that will happen if they don't vote. What we need to do is we need to turn it around to where the Republican Party has a positive message. Okay. And where it has a coherent platform, people will be held to account that if we vote for them, they're going to go in and enact this legislation. And so I'm working with state legislators on pulling something like that together as well. And so what we want to do is switch from frightening you, into voting to having you want to vote because you want to be a part of something good for this country. So that involves, coming up with that plan and then just continuing to get more Republicans engaged in the whole thing. And in the end, let's take the House, let's take the Senate, and let's take the governor's mansion, all of it. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight, Brian. So any questions on any of that, or?
No, and you know what? You have some great points, and this is why we wanted you to come on the show. We're on 7 formats now, and we've got a lot of people that don't come in live, but they come in and watch the show tomorrow at work. They watch it at lunchtime. So we're getting it recorded in the digital world, and that message is getting sent out. And that seems to be the problem we're having here at Erie County is we all can't just get along. I really get kind of like I get frustrated because I talk to Republicans. They're like, well, they love that they love to just throw that word rhino out. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Why do we have to use labels? Just because you and I are Republicans and you might have just a quarter of an inch more to the right than I do, doesn't mean you get that label in my book. That just means we have different opinions. Now let's cut that quarter of an inch in half and let's meet in the middle and let's fix it. And and that's the problem is I when I got involved here and got involved locally in the Republican Party, I got in a lot of heat from the local party because I would like take a swipe at them and say, why are we fighting amongst ourselves over these nickel dime issues when we have to focus on the big win? I'm an Army veteran. I might not be the sharpest or brightest crayon in the box. I understand what the team concept is. And I know sometimes I have to bite my own tongue because it is part of what's better for the team. And we struggle with that. We've gotten better. I mean, I see we have a change of our leadership. Our former chairman resigned. Our vice chair stepped up. I saw a little correction. I see on our election, we have a whole bunch of brand new committee people coming in that are motivated. They want to go knock doors. They want to make phone calls. They want to get involved and engage locally. And because they understand that the local politicians are the ones that have the quickest reach into your pockets. The guys in Harrisburg and in the Capitol, they have to work hard to get into our pockets. A local school board, not so much. Local county council, not so much. The city of Erie folks, by God, I feel absolutely sorry for those people just getting beat to death with taxes and new fees, and half the city is turned into a nonprofit. I mean, there has to be a fine balance. And I like I spoke earlier, I wasn't going to get involved in this race against our local guy, but I just said that's enough's enough. I said I've had my fill. They voted. The Three Stooges here, as I refer to them as, voted against our senior citizens getting tax breaks. What? Oh, that is absolutely appalling. That someone that has worked their entire life that is going to get taxed to death while they're in their, the golden years of their lives, when they're losing their homes because the state legislature can't balance a budget, the county can't balance a budget, and the city can't balance a budget. So this is why I said, God bless America. Just gonna throw my hat in the ring and just give it the old Army try. Get on the balance.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So, I mean, had some folks reached out to me, the local, I call him Windmill Bob because he was pushing for windmills out in the lake, which everybody is opposed. Everybody, Sons of Lake Erie, the folks that really have a lot of clout in the fishing world and the sporting events that go on here on the lake. They're like, no, that is one of the dumbest things. I talked to Bob on the phone one day. I said, Bob, what are you doing, man? Nobody wants those stupid windmills out on the lake. But here they go, staying right in step with what the Democrat Party has regurgitated to them and said, if you don't play, you don't get no pay. So,
funny story. I used to live in California, and if you looked out my back window, you could see the Altamont Pass.
Oh,
now,
wow.
The Altamont Pass is famous for having all the windmills up there. And so I saw them every day. Okay. And guess what? Most of them weren't doing every day.
Working.
Moving.
I got out of the Army. I lived in California, and I've been there and I've seen those, and they're just, it's absolutely, they don't even look real. But then you find out when you get closer, they're not even moving. And people don't realize the carbon footprint and the amount of energy, cement and concrete and yucky stuff that goes in to build these things. You never recoup your money back. But they're just too dumb to get that because the Democrats tell them to think that. They do.
The energy that it takes to construct those,
huge.
Probably is more energy than they produce in their lifetime.
I forget the number. I'll have to re-Google it up. Is how much concrete is manufactured for just the base. because they're so big, and it has to, the engineering behind it is amazing. How much steel and how much diesel has to be used, and the lubricants, and how many of them when they catch on fire, you just let them burn. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. What happens when they catch on fire in the middle of the lake? But hey, a Windmill Bob, that's his fame to glory. That's why, like that's it. I'm doing a writing campaign. I'll get on the ballot. I'll worry about the money when I get there.
All right. Well, I'm going to be rooting for you against Windmill Bob then.
Windmill Bob, I'm like, oh, Bob, come on. I thought you were smarter than that. And then there's this House Bill 1957 with the late term abortion thing. The Three Stooges here in the area, they stayed right in step. They're supporting the late term abortions, and I really have tried to stay out of this one. I really, truly do. However, there has to be a point where you draw a line in the sand and say, enough's enough. We gave you an inch. Now you want a mile. You're not taking this mile. Not on my watch.
Well, this has been really instructive for me because Kim's invited me up to a couple events, and I'm going to come join you guys. But, I'm going to go up there now. Besides, I've known you a little bit, and I've known Kim and a few other Republicans, but now I know some of the bad guys too. There, I had to get there, so I know who to watch out for, not to trust.
Yeah, trust. Kim being the social butterfly that she is, she'll talk to this one. This is a bad one. Come over here and talk to this one. She knows how to work a room. She really, really does.
She's amazing. Yeah.
And, at the bottom of the screen, I don't know if you can see or not, we have a scrolling marquee that has, welcome, has all your information, has your contact information. If you want to get a hold of you, your email is there at the bottom. Oh, you have a big dog there, boy. I tell you what, you're well protected.
Oh, I've got a couple of them. Yeah.
I saw the one on your right just move.
Oh, that's the Rottweiler. Yeah. The other one is trying to get into the office. I were barricaded out.
Oh, I think maybe had a zombie apocalypse coming down your neck of the woods. But yeah, so we Brenda, being the computer guru that she is, we have a scrolling marquee at the bottom. It has all your credentials, who you are, and it'll have your email address at chet.jack@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's perfect. And if any of your folks, want to get involved in some of the stuff that I was talking about, feel free to email me. Know that I get about 1,000 emails a day, so you got to put something catchy in the subject. So either put Brian's name in the subject or put the name of his podcast in there. Yes.
So like we said, we see that, and now I love watching your shows. I go on your show and watch, and I'm assuming you're on YouTube. Is that correct?
No, actually, I do shorter clips, and they're usually on Facebook. So that's probably where you've seen me before.
Oh, okay, good. All right, because I watch a lot of stuff, and I'm like, it gets fuzzy which one I'm watching. But yes, please stop over his Facebook page, follow him. He's got a great information. I know you probably heard, like you've forgotten more than I know. So when I have folks of your knowledge come on my show, I feel like I'm just a little bit smarter at the end of the conversation. Because that's how we're going to resolve this. That's how we're going to fix this. But any closing statements before we say goodbye, sir?
Well, if you jump over to my Facebook page, take a look at this short clip that I put out. It was my little May Day greetings to our comrades on the other side. It's short, but I think all my stuff's funny. Maybe no one else does, but I laugh. So,
oh, trust me, I get in a lot of trouble for that one. Humor is interpretive. And it is not the way it used to be 20 years ago when we were younger men and our hair was a little darker.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, I really appreciate that, you for running this platform. I think you're providing a very important service to the community by allowing people to get their message out. And thank you for having me on.
You have an open invitation. That link we sent you is your link. So anytime you want to come back on the show, say, hey, I really want to come on your show tonight live. That's your link. And you can just click on it and come back.
I will save that. Okay.
Sir, I appreciate your time. You be safe down there. Let's give them hell, brother.
You take care, and to your audience, good night, folks. Take care.
All right. Good night. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Well, there you go. Like I said, we tried to bring on some interesting guests. This guy, you need to go on his social media, follow him. You will learn a lot about what's really happening, and what goes on in Butler affects us. What happens in Erie affects them. We are all on the same team. We just don't talk. And that's where I think we as Republicans have failed, is the fact that we have really dropped the ball on communications. And that's why we do this show. Hi, Kim. You're live.
Well, thank you for having my best buddy chat on, Brian. I just love him to death. He's a big old teddy bear.
I wouldn't want to politically spar with him, though.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
And he's very humble.
Very
He's been
smart.
in politics.
Very smart.
He's been in politics much longer than 5 or 6 years. I've known him for 10.
That's why I said he has forgotten more than I know. So we got to make it kind of quick.
Yes. So a big thank you for Gordon Shaw for hosting us this last Friday night. Tell you what, guys and girls, we rocked and rolled it. We got everything finished up for our wonderful event on May 20th. Those of you that have not registered yet, please do so for our AFP. You know, we really got to get this legislation passed at the Senate. You know, no vet should ever have to wait 120 days or 6 months to go get his teeth fixed or anything else. So we want to get the Veterans Care Act passed, okay? So please reach out to myself, Brian, Gordon Shaw, or follow the QR code. Thank you, Brian and Brenda, for putting that up at the beginning. We really appreciate it. That's May 20th at Union Station Brewery from 5 to 8. We're going to bank for those. Thank you, Brian, again. You know, and we're going to give you free drinks and dinner, you know. It's very casual. Wear jeans, wear a veteran shirt if you're a veteran, or wear an Army shirt, whatever you want. If you don't have one of those, wear whatever you feel like wearing. I will be filing a right to know. We want to get them emails and see what exactly Jimmy Wirtz did. So I will be filing that tomorrow morning at the county courthouse, and I will be speaking out for us at the county council meeting on the 5th. You know, they run on transparency. I want them to be transparent. Hey, Drexel can be the chairman of elections. I don't care, because he can't do no harm because he don't know how. He's that ignorant. So I'm going to move to have them place either Ellen Showerman or our great Charlie Bale, or even if they want to have a Democrat, Jim Renarski, as either the chair or vice chair of elections. And believe me, I saw your comments out there. Something's being done about illegals voting in Erie County. It's being done at a state level. So just hold on to your horses on that one, boys and girls. The last day to register for the primary is on Tuesday, May 12th. So if you have a friend that has not registered for a mail-in ballot or to register, please get them down there and do that. You can do it right on the phone app. And then let's see here. The big truck event in Harbor Creek is on Saturday, the 16th. I'm a big kid, little kids, everybody loves it. Steve Oler and the guys out in Harbor Creek host this every year. It is huge, huge, huge. And they're going to have a great DJ, Mr. Brian Shank, my personal favorite. And speaking of which, they're taking nominations right now for Erie's Choice Awards. So if you have a couple minutes, please nominate our favorite radio and podcast host, Mr. Brian Shank. You can do that right on your phone. And then the 19th is the primary. Now, I'm sure Brian talked about it, but he's kind of humble. I have friends that are Democrats, old school Kennedy Democrats. Okay. They now have a choice. They don't have to get stuck with Mr. Bob Mursky. Have them write in Mr. Brian Shank on the Democratic side, and all Republicans in that area. Please write in Brian. We need to have a conservative at the state level to represent us. So please. And I am looking for volunteers. Okay. I'm looking for poll greeters. Most people don't know who they're going to vote for when they get to the polls. So I'm looking for poll greeters. If you don't have time to do that, I am looking for people to put out yard signs the night before the primary in front of the polling locations all over our county. So whether you live in Waterford, Wattsburg, Edinburgh, any area, please get a hold of myself or Brian. If you have a few minutes the night before the primary and you feel like helping Stacey Garrity or Mike Kelly, I have signs. Please give me a caller, because we have to cover all 149 polling locations. Our great chairman, Mr. Cliff Smathers, and his wife Gracie have offered to cover Northeast, but we have lots of other areas as well. And then, like I said, on May 20th is that great AFP event, free of charge. Thank you, Mr. Gordon Shaw and his boss, Liz. But we also have the ladies' luncheon, and we are going to have a great, mysterious guest speaker that day. Same bat place, same bat time. It's going to be at the Singing Burger for only $15. Please support Miss Teresa and come out to the ladies' luncheon. And that is all I have left for the month of May. And then we'll be rocking and rolling with our very first parade on June 6th. So, we got a lot of stuff coming. We have state committee coming up in Gettysburg that month. We will be hosting a great Mike Kelly fundraiser on June 20th out at Gravel Pit Park. He's going to put on a pig roast. We haven't had one of those in forever, have we, Brian?
The last one I've been was the one that I put on many years ago.
Yeah, and I think the only other person it puts one on is Senator Laughlin.
Yep.
So Mike Kelly's putting on a pig roast, and it's going to be fabulous. So, if you ever want to know what's going on, feel free to get a hold of me, get a hold of Brian, and I really hope to see some people come out. Like I said, county council meeting. What time do those start, Brian?
The caucus is like at 5:00. The actual meeting starts at 6:00 sharp.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Well, you did them for 4 years, so I knew you'd have my answer.
Yeah.
But I will be speaking out on behalf of the Republicans at 6:00 at County Council. I'm already signed up. So anybody wants to come and hear me put them on blast, come on out. And I thank you for everything you and Brenda do. Thank you so much. And everybody have a happy and blessed Sunday. And don't forget to vote. You can vote in person right now at the county courthouse. So get your friends, drag them, grab them, kidnap them,
Go
get to
lunch.
the courthouse and vote in person now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you go, Kim. But that was she got that all in 5 minutes. That's pretty good. I'm gonna hit this real quick. You can go to Go Erie, and please vote for my podcast. The category is entertainment and leisure people. Don't understand why. It's radio personality show / person's name and company name, and just type in Boots on the Ground with Brian Shank podcast. This is just the nomination cycle. But please take a moment and get on there every day and please nominate me. And they'll do the top 5, then they'll do the top 3. Then we go there and get all fancified and we go down to the convention center and they pick the winner. And hopefully with your help, we can do that. Another house cleaning thing. If you're a Democrat and you don't like Bob Mursky, which I actually am shocked. As soon as this got out that I was doing a write-in, my phone started to blow up and they're like, oh my God, thank you for stepping up, because we're Democrats, we're conservative Democrats, and we are absolutely disgusted with the way that our 3 are voting here in Erie County. So if you're a Democrat, please write me in. I always give the example. It's real simple, and this is the tactic Bob is trying to use, because he is sweating bullets right now. I have some very close friends telling me he is sweating bullets, that now he knows he's got someone that could actually take him out politically, of course. That if he gets 10 votes as a Democrat and I get 11 votes as a Democrat, he is eliminated and I win. I don't have to spend a dime. So that's the tactic Bob is playing right now, which is absolutely disgustingly dirty. Absolutely. I held him to a pretty high standard. I really did. But when I got this sent to me, that this is the tactic he's using, that tells me he's nothing but just like the rest of the not all Democrats. I gotta be very careful. There's a lot of good, hardworking Democrats out there. They're good people. They're hardworking people. They're good people. They're lifetime Democrats, but they want to vote Democrat because that's just the way they think and the way they feel. But the Democrat Party has left us a long time ago. I was a Union Democrat person myself. Those days are gone. So now Bob has really stooped to the lowest form of Democrat slime that I can absolutely say legally on the air without getting busted, to do a writing campaign to have his Republican friends write him out and to take me off the ballot, because he doesn't have the guts to come after me, face first, eye to eye, and take this real. He wants to do a slimy cheat by have me knocked off the ballot and not come after me head on. Shame on you, Bob. And you know what? I was going to play nice. Now I'm not going to play nice because you're not playing nice. And of course, let the Democrats always have to pull the first, they always throw the first punch, and then they'll turn around and play victim. So guess what, Bob? Game on. You want to play these games? I can play these games, and I can play them just a little bit better. Just because you've been at it a little bit longer, I've been trained and learned a lot of good, dirty stuff. And you know what? When someone's got skeletons in their closet, they should be very, very careful. And that's all I'll say on that happy note. Let's see, Brenda, what do we got? We got the March for Life video. Let's pull it up.
Well, marchers filled downtown Erie this morning for the 49th annual Erie March for Life. They march every year to advocate for anti-abortion causes, raise awareness, and support alternatives to abortion. Their theme this year was Big or Small, Respect for All. Organizers say the 1.1-mile march is meant to make their message visible in the community. Families, students, and church groups moved together from Perry Square, many carrying signs. They say the turnout and pro-life, pro-choice issues in the news, like this week's Supreme Court ruling over mailing the morning after pill, keeps the decade-old march going.
Abortion is murder, just on the surface level, and I, as a young woman, I think it's very important, especially for young women, to show that we want families, we want children, because we need more people in this world.
And our Stephanie Lowe spoke with the organizer of today's event. She's going to have the full story coming up tonight at 11 on Erie News Now.
Yeah, the privilege of providing the sound, and of course, that is my 20-foot by 30-foot flag. You know, Tim, the organizers, Brian, can you bring your flag? I said, man, it's always packed in the car, ready to go, because you never know when patriots need to feel patriotic. Now, the next one is absolutely the one we kind of talked about earlier about Jimmy Wirtz getting thrown off the Board of Election. Man, I'll tell you what, he's not even in 4 months, is already getting thrown off all of his stuff. I'd have to say the 4 years I tendered, we never threw anybody off of a committee like that. So this is really, people, I know we poke fun at it. This is serious stuff. There's got to be something there that the chairman himself voted him out. And of course, the most reasonable Democrat in Erie County, Mr. Jim Winarski, of course, he voted him out. And of course, the county council Three Stooges, they voted for Jim. Why was Mr. Wirtz allowed to vote on his own future? He should have abstained. He shouldn't have been allowed to vote. And again, this is why I say this with great hesitation. People are very, very cautious about trusting Democrats these days, because they lie, they cheat, and they steal. And I am not trying to insult the hard, good-working, honest Democrat people out there that are doing it right and voting their wallets and their paychecks and things that come from their heart. And I'm sorry, I hate to pick on you guys, and I'm not trying to lump you guys in that pile, but by God, this whole Democrat Party has shifted so far. I know John F. Kennedy is rolling in his grave right now. I mean, really, absolutely, honestly. So go ahead, play that Jimmy Worthless Wirtz video getting kicked off.
The integrity of this office was compromised when you started this this circling of the wagons to remove me from this seat.
A tense and at times heated special Board of Elections meeting where members of council voted 4-3 to remove Councilman Jim Wirtz as Erie County Board of Elections chairman. Republican council members Charlie Ball and Ellen Showerman joined with Democratic members Jim Winarski and Erie County Council Chairman Terry Scatella voting in the affirmative, with Democrats Rock Copeland, Chris Drexel, and Jim Wirtz himself voting no.
You can call it bipartisan, by party affiliation, but I think the people that were here today and the people that watched the meeting online would recognize it as something different.
Disappointed with the vote, Wirtz believes it sets a bad precedent for council.
I've seen council in the past simply overlook much larger issues with no no action, and here we are. So choices were made, and ultimately we are where we are.
Those voting in favor of removing Wirtz from the position said it was due to a conflict of interest with Wirtz and discussions he had with a group, Elections Truth Alliance, who in November of last year filed a lawsuit against the Pennsylvania Secretary of the Commonwealth and other counties' Board of Elections, including Erie, to compel hand count audits of the 2024 U.S. general election. Erie County Council Chairman Terry Scatella says removing Wirtz is a move to protect the integrity of the election office and the people who work in it.
We voted him 7-0, and he came to me before we start before the election board meeting. He said, "I would like to do that," and rightfully so. He ran a Democratic Party for so many years. Didn't have a problem with that, but when the conflict of interest comes up, you have to do something to protect this office and the people that work in this office.
If there was a conflict of interest in this, then we would never have another public meeting because every single member of council would be conflicted by some interaction they've had in the public.
Philip Ward, Erie News Now.
And following that vote to remove Wirtz, Chris Drexel, who served as vice chair, will now hold the position as chairman.
I'm sorry. That just cracks me up because every time I think about him trying to get me thrown off the Board of Elections for my car and a trailer for Greg Hayes, absolutely just makes me laugh. And of course, typical Jimmy playing the victim. He's a professional at it. Trust me. He was a professor at Edinburgh. As I roll my eyes to the back of my head, I'm glad because you know what? There's smoke, there's fire. Because I'm telling you, the Democrats wouldn't have voted for it if they didn't 100% agree that there was something wrong. There's something wrong, and the look of the of Copenhagen when the two of them were pointing fingers at each other was absolutely like, oh crap! I'm literally in the middle of it. And then you got former Army veteran and state troopers, Charlie Bale, stuck in the middle. And I'm like, man, that guy's cool as a cucumber. So yeah, this one is about our county executive and just trying to reinvent the wheel. And it's so funny that how they are taking victory laps for things that Brenton Davis and I built while we were on council, because people don't realize it's not like building a shed. When you're dealing with government, it takes time. You have to do all these dog and pony show. You got to get all this. You got to go through the hoops. It takes time. And now, like the little sheds, she said she's not going to do it, and they're going to sell them. I think that's illegal, and I sure hope someone's paying attention to that one because I think she can't do it. Let's go with the Vogel County Executive video, and let's see if she calls me later on yelling at me. Play it.
GCAC's expanded summer jobs program today. This time around, they're calling it the Erie Bright Future Summer Jobs Program, emphasizing its intended impact. Deanna Pools.
Now, before I hit pause because I can't talk over the video. I want you guys to pay attention to the wording at the bottom of the screen, please. At the bottom, not the top. That's why Brenda moved my picture up because she knows it's coming. But I want to let you know, please look at the bottom of the screen verbiage.
Spoke with Erie County officials and community partners. She joins us now with the story. Deanna?
Yes, Sean. For over a decade, GCAC has uplifted Erie's youth one summer at a time through their summer job program. And Erie County Executive Christina Vogel says that this year will be bigger and better.
In my first kind of corporate job, I worked at the Dairy Queen, so I can make a great curly Q. I want them to be able to do something productive and not just get in trouble for
I cannot believe the county executive actually went on the news and said that her first job was working with ice cream after she got busted for stealing ice cream. I cannot make these jokes up. They just make themselves. Again, these are all facts. Search it up, Google it up. I'll get a nasty text from her probably tomorrow or the next day because one of her minions said that Brian was being mean to you on social media again tonight. And I was last week, and she's like, well, you're not really telling the truth. Well, that's the truth, how I interpret it. Welcome to the jungle. Let's see here. Go ahead and play that. Yeah. What do you got? That's we got the vocal video done. Katie Wilson.
Access to affordable, healthy food is a basic right. We cannot allow giant grocery chains to stomp all over our communities, close stores at will, and leave behind food deserts.
I think the fear in the Somali community is real. The fear in immigrant communities are real, so we're taking that very seriously.
Along those lines, have you asked anyone to follow up on the fraud claims, either to the Department of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs or SPD?
Call for an investigation into Somali daycare fraud. What are you calling?
We're working with the police department to make sure that officers are following the rules that we have sent down. And if they don't, then that's a problem.
Do you support firing cops who don't follow that executive order?
You mean firing cops who do what?
Who don't follow the law?
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
That are cooperating with ICE.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like bye.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson was rushed away from an event at the Yesler Community Center on Tuesday evening after shots were fired. Now, right now, it's unclear whether the gunfire was targeted at Mayor Wilson, the event itself, or the community center. This happened near the end of the event around 5 p.m. on Tuesday. In a statement, the mayor says while no one was injured, this is a stark reminder of a reality too many people in this city live with every day, adding, we cannot let this become normal. Again, right now, no confirmation about whether this was actually targeted at the mayor or her event. Right now, no suspects are.
Now, don't forget, the CEO and the founder of Starbucks is leaving town, packing it up, shipping it out west. Out east. He's done. He's like, I can't afford this place. You guys are taxing us to death. And she just, this is a woman that never had a job, lived with her parents. Her husband doesn't have a job. She didn't even finish her Ivy League education for whatever reason, lived with her parents, had a kid, had her parents support the kid, and her very first job is the mayor of one of the biggest cities in the country. But here it is, vote blue no matter who. And guess what? Look what's happening in California. These companies can't leave California fast enough. But Mr. Fancy Pants with designer jeans is running a saw today saying he's for the working man. I'm like, man, I really wanted to throw up, Yeah. So we're going to be bringing this thing in for a landing. It's right around 8:00. We have Brenda loves the last section, the politics, the things we have to talk about. Yeah. Okay. It's fun. It's great. We got to engage. We got to talk about it. But then Brenda always gets to pick the outro funny-o videos. So we are going to wrap this thing up. The information, if you need it for chat, is readily available. It's recorded. You can go back and find all that stuff. He is absolutely a smart man. And if we pay attention, we take some of his philosophies and some of his really, boots on the ground effect, we'll change things. We have to do better, boys and girls. We have to, because what happened was last election cycle when I get reelected, only 17% of Republicans got out and voted. And that's horrible. And on the anniversary of 250 years of being a country, this is the only way to do it. I wanted to put a video up about this. I just want to talk about this real quick. The King of England came to the United States. And he addressed all the hot shots in the chamber, and they gave him a standing ovation. The Democrats stood up and applauded a king, a real king, a king that's been part of the monarchy of our brothers and sisters across the pond for a very, very long time. But then they, in the same breath, they have anti-king rallies here in the States where we don't have a king, where we fought a war to separate ourselves from the king and all that shenanigans. I can't grasp the Democrats anymore. I used to be one. I used to get it. I used to be able to follow it. I got it. I can't anymore. They applaud a king, but then they don't want a king here. But we don't have a king. We have a republic, and we elect the president, and the president won the college electoral vote and the popular vote. Now they're screaming to get rid of the college electoral vote system because they aren't winning. So they want to get rid of it. They're changing the rules. We talked about gerrymandering. That's exactly what happened here in Harbor Creek. They gerrymandered our district right out of having a Republican representative for over 20 years, Mr. Sonny. I salute you for everything you've done for this community. The minute he retires, they make it so Bob Windmill Mirsky can take an easy win because they know the Democrats in the city will come out and vote, and that's how they keep controlling our destiny when they're representing. He lives in the city. He doesn't live out here. He lives in the city. So he doesn't live out here, riding the shirt tails of his dad, and the name. And hey, you knock yourself out if you got it. But you know what, folks? Write me in. Send me to Harrisburg. I don't make promises I don't keep. And I made several promises when I got on council. I would sign myself out of the pension system. And I did. And I said, you know what? I will never vote for a tax increase. Even when I was not reelected and I still was sitting in that chair, I did not vote for that final tax increase. I kept my word. I kept my word to you. So again, special thank you to Brenda. Thank you for coming out. Chet, our illustrious guest, we'll have him back on the show. I hope I can return the favor and come on his show and we can get in some nut and bolts and good stuff. And this tag says funny dog. So here we go. Brendo.
Who let the dogs out? Scruffy, get back, you flea infested my grill. Gonna tell myself I might know the angry.
Well, like I said, we're trying to end the show with something happy. Again, Brenda, thank you for everything you've done to put the show together. Thanks for our guests. Thanks for you guys kind of chiming into the chat room. I do try to pay attention of what's going on in the chat room, but it's hard to when I'm talking with a guest and doing what we do. So again, I will be back next Sunday, same time, 7:00. I will try to jump on and do some live videos here and there. We still got some politics to talk about. One more quick announcement for you folks out here in Harbor Creek. Your polling location has been changed. So the new polling location is at the Fate Lutheran Church, right across from Klein School, at 5414 East Lake Road, Erie, PA 16511. On that happy note, I'll say, Shank out. Brenda, outro, please.
Fight has never been clear. Take a good look in the mirror and tell me what you see. They throw their stones to silence people, build up their walls to celebrate evil. Destructions are what they seek, and they got their man Charlie. But like an avalanche rolling downhill, like a fighter imposing his will, an army is born. Like the force of a tsunami cried and we mourned, but now this is war. One bullet, one shot, but don't be mistaken, they took out a life, but united a nation, and we are not afraid. We rise up against those demonic forces who kill and destroy, but forgot who our Lord is, standing strong and brave. The sleeping giant waves, like an avalanche rolling downhill, like a fighter imposing his will, an army is born, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. We cried and we mourned, but now this is war. They took out someone, a dead husband and son, because of his views and his faith. They thought they had won, no idea what they've done. Now they're lying in the bed that they've made. They took out someone, a dead husband or son, because of his views and his faith. They thought they had won, no idea what they've done. Now they're lying in the bed that they've made. And they created a martyr that day, like an avalanche rolling downhill, a prize fighter imposing his will, an army is born, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. We cried and we mourned, but now this is war, like an avalanche rolling downhill, a prize fighter imposing his will. He lived without fear, oh, like the force of a tsunami wave, rising up, going boldly in faith. It won't disappear. Now the whole world hears, so let me be clear, Charlie, we got it from here.
All right, everybody, thanks for coming out. Thanks for sharing this Sunday evening with me. I will see you next Sunday at 7 o'clock. Again, you know what? Make sure you send Brenda a nice thank you for everything she does to make the show just perfect with the videos. We appreciate everything she does, because if it wasn't for her, I would be sitting here talking to you for 45 minutes. You'd get really bored of me. Good night, everybody. Like we always say at the end of the show, Shank out.